So heirloom skins are going to be a permanent thing. Frost is about to become an absolute beast, and Zephyr once again gets the short end of the stick. Can we talk? Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is your local problematic Leo. I hope you like that little bit of a throwback. Today we're going to be having a chat about Devstream 180. If I'm going to be completely honest with you, we have a whole lot on our plate. Usually when it comes to Devstream coverage, I only kind of like pick and choose the interesting bits. Anything else that I feel is like scrappy, I just toss to the side. However, this time around, we have got a lot to tackle because, ooh, it's a juicy one. So speaking of juicy things, let's jump into housekeeping and talking about something that is very interesting to me. Of course, we have the heirloom skins. As many of you guys remember, we did have the Frost and Mag ones, which have been retired, so keep that in mind. However, we're going to be getting an Ember collection coming soon with the, what is it called? The Tenocon. That thing that's happening. We're going to get it then. But it's not only going to be available for cash this time, so I think it's $25, and you're also going to get some plat 425 along with the bundle, because it's the skin, the Signa, the color palette, and some other doodly bops. But this time around, it's also going to be available for plat, which is I think 475, and you can buy each item a la carte, which is quite nice. However, here's a real interesting thing. Like I said, Frost and Mag have been retired from the heirloom skin series. However, from Ember moving forward, the plat availability is always going to be there. So the cash availability is only going to be there for a limited time, but if you wanted to pick it up with plat, it's going to be a permanent running thing. So I guess the heirloom series is not just going to be exclusive, it's just going to be a normal skin line with some cool little bits and bobs. So that's definitely something that I'm very excited about. For anybody who did miss Frost and Mag, I think they are keeping that exclusive, so very sorry. However, let's move into something that is available for everyone come June 18th. That, of course, is the newest update, which is going to be Jade Shadows. Now, this is going to be a cinematic quest. Keep in mind, you are going to need to have played the new war, and then that leads into an event for a clan event. I don't know if it's just clan only, because some things that they said made it sound like it's not clan only, but I think it is clan only. The clan event is going to require you to have finished Jade Shadows, and I do believe the event launches with the update. And they're saying that the cinematic quest is, what, 25 minutes long? They either said 25 or 45. It was one of those, but you know what? We'll get there. So this is actually going to feature the new Ascension game mode. Now, the long and the short of it, if you have played, what is it called? It was one of the raids. Oh yeah, I forgot the word raid because we haven't had one in Warframe for so long. But if y'all remember playing that, and y'all remember the part where you were on the elevator, this is basically it. So what you're gonna have to go in and do is, I think you have to defend a little thing, then you jump onto an elevator, and then you gotta go ahead and pick up energy cores to throw at the elevator to keep the elevator moving upwards, alright? Supposedly there's gonna be an enemy elevator that's also trying to catch up with you to stop you and prevent you, but basically make the elevator go up and escape. Now, the Belly of the Beast version, which is going to be the event that comes along with Jade Shadows, is going to feature Jade Light Eximuses. Now, we've been wondering what these are for a while now, but if I'm going to be honest with you, at least from the footage that they showed, it's just like a beam that drops down and you got to avoid the beam that they shoot. The guy was getting hit with the beam and it didn't look like the beam killed you immediately. So I don't know how special that's going to be, but it is a thing. So definitely keep that in mind, and that again is going to come with the event. Now with the event comes some very nice rewards. We do have the returning arcanes. If you've kind of seen them from previous events, they are coming back this time around. Keep in mind that some of the arcanes are gonna only be available through the dojo. I guess there's gonna be an area in the dojo where you can buy stuff. I think it's gonna be Ordis, because Ordis is gonna be peddling the wares for the event now, so I don't know if he's gonna show up in your clan too. I don't know how it's all gonna work, but there are some clan exclusive items that you have to buy from the clan. So some of those arcanes are there. You're gonna be able to get the Kiro Signia or Signa. Remember the one that we got from the last clan event? It's going to be available again if you missed it last time. Then there's going to be the Evolving Jade Light Ephemera. So basically, as the community hits different tiers in the event, they'll be able to unlock different versions of the Jade Light Ephemera, which, if I'm going to be honest with you, is kind of like green and bony. It's weird. I don't know if I like it. Let me know how you guys feel down in the comments below. But one of the clan of event reward things too that you have to pick up is going to be the Jade Light Hate Skin. It also has that weird bony green effect. I don't know if I like it, y'all. I don't know if I like it. Anyway, now let's speak about the big thing, which of course is going to be Jade and her abilities. I don't know how I feel. I kind of like it, but I also kind of feel very, very bad for Zephyr. Anyway, so Jade's passive is actually going to be double aura mods. So, of course, you get the polarization boost, but now you get a double polarization boost, which is quite nice, and you'll have access to 2 different auras. That, and alongside her 1 and her 4 will mark enemies, and they'll be dealt more damage, basically. So her first ability is called Light's Judgment, and you basically lob this like light ball at the ground. You can have 3 of these light balls out at the same time. Being in the area of these light balls will heal your allies. So anybody standing in the little zones, heal allies and deal damage to enemies. Very, very simple. Oh, and it will also mark enemies. Keep that in mind. Next one is going to be, I cannot remember the name of this ability, but it's the one that has auras. Basically what happens is you can put out this aura and you're going to be able to toggle between 3 different auras. Now, the cool thing about this is it costs no energy to switch between auras, because I still think you get the same duration, but you just get different effects. So the first one is going to be a team shield boost, and basically you can boost up your shields and also go ahead and recharge up into the overshields, which is definitely nice. The second one is going to be power strength. So you can get team power strength boost, and the last one is going to be weapon boost. Now, the cool thing about this that they were saying is the power strength boost you can kind of juggle in and out, because if you've already got full overshields, you can toggle into the next one, right? So now you've got full overshields, you can go ahead and toggle into power strength, go into your 4th mode, if you know what I mean. I'll tell you about that in a second, and then toggle it off to the last one where you can get bonus weapon damage. There's some cool synergies that you can do with all of that, but these 3 different auras that you can go around with. Now, number 3 is an interesting one, and then this one is called Orpheum Sight, Orpheum something, I don't know, they use weird words, but basically within the line of sight, so this like cone of sight that you have, you are going to be able to slow and not dismember. You're gonna take down the shields and armor of any enemies within that field of vision. So it looks like it was working in ticks. So basically you don't instantly shred enemy armor, but you shred off chunks of it. And I'm assuming the same thing is going to be for the shielding. Enemies did seem to be instantly slowed. But the most interesting part of this is you're actually also going to be able to use this ability to revive allies. So as long as they're in your cone of sight, you will be able to revive them from a distance, which is kind of nice. Now, last but not least is her ability number 4 called Fuck Zephyr. Yeah, we're still bitter about this, DE. Well, I am. I don't know if anybody else is. But it's called Glory on High, which is an amazing name. Basically, you take flight and use her exalted weapon called Glory. Now, the cool thing about this is, number 1, it's a faster movement type than Hildren's kind of like hover. You're actually going to be able to zip around pretty well with it. And it looks like it kind of just lobs damage at enemies, but the alternate ability to it, not alternate ability, but alternate fire, is you're going to be able to detonate any marked enemies. So, you know, if you've got any of your Light's Judgment on the ground marking enemies, or if you're using these energy balls to lob and hit enemies that'll mark them, you can go ahead and use the alternate fire to make them all go boom, which is, it looked good, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. Now, she is going to be coming with 3 different weapons. She's going to be coming with the secondary kind of throwing blade. She's going to come with the bow that looks absolutely beautiful. And she's also got the big old staff scythe. It looks like a staff to me, but it's like a staff scythe. And apparently each one of those are going to have their own individual effects, but when you equip them together, there's like a bonus effect that happens as well, which is really, really interesting. I think it's the first time that DE's done something that adds like another effect on top of all of the other effects. Maybe it just strengthens the effect. Who knows? Regardless, they were saying that, you know, they don't have the final things in game, so they didn't want to go ahead and chat about that. So next one, I am actually really, this is where we get into the nitty gritty, y'all. We're going to be talking about the status changes. We're going to tackle some of the small ones. So Burst is going to create a secondary blast effect, which basically takes like a portion of the damage and will deal them outwards. I think it was still like, they were still working out the kinks. So if you reach a certain threshold of blast, there will be a delayed secondary blast that goes out, or if you kill an enemy with a certain amount of blast stacks, you're going to get the secondary blast off of that, which is kind of cool. It's almost like a little molecular prime if you've got a lot of blast statuses going out there, right? Next up, we have Magnetic, which this one's interesting to me because a lot of people were saying it's not even worth having Magnetic. What's the point? Because, you know, we've got Toxin that can just bypass shields. Well, now Magnetic is actually going to have extra damage to overshields. So for any of the Eximuses out there, you can go ahead, strip overshields, and then also hit their magnetic shielding. So that'll be nice. I think that one's kind of cool. Then we have Cold. This is where it gets really, really interesting, you guys. So it freezes enemies after they reach the new cold stack maximum. I'm assuming that's 10. I'm assuming the cold stack maximum is 10. When I was reading the dev workshop for this, they just kept saying the new cold stack maximum. I was like, what? So basically, once you get up there, you'll be able to go ahead and deal bonus damage to them. Bonus crit damage is greatly increased. That's what I have in my notes. But this is where things get really sickening because they decided to go ahead and retouch Mr. Frost. And I mean, it's nice to see like an older Warframe get some love. Can we get more love for Loki, please? I would love a little love for Loki. But anyway, Frost, when it comes to his abilities, they were saying that he doesn't actually apply a lot of like cold statuses, and that's mainly because of the fact that he kind of puts on pseudo statuses. So sometimes he has a freeze, but it's not considered a cold, they're just frozen, you know, he just does his thing. But what they're gonna do is they're gonna alter things where all of his abilities now apply cold to kind of work with the new cold statuses. So they went ahead and changed him a little bit. First and foremost, his new passive, because his old passive was kind of garbage, is that he has increased cold duration. But on top of that, he gets bonus armor for every enemy that has cold status applied to them. Now, I'm assuming this works in a specific range. They're saying that it's very similar to Ember's fire ability, you know, where she gets bonus power strength from enemies that are on fire. So whatever range that is, I'm sure this is going to be the same thing. But the interesting thing here is, while, you know, this might not seem like very much at maybe lower levels, but in higher levels, and I'm sure they're going to add a cap. I'm sure they have to add a cap to this, or otherwise it's going to go too crazy. But basically, you're going to get insane amounts of armor because you're not going to be killing enemies insanely fast. You know what I mean? There's a lot of enemies that are going to be sitting out there CC'd. And it's just kind of like lovely because now they're CC'd and you're getting bonus armor off of it. So any of the stray hits that come in, you're like, nope, I'm good. But here's the real like sexy thing is they also zhuzhed up Snow Globe because, like, you know, it kind of functions weirdly sometimes. So what happens is now every enemy that's in the snow globe or enters in the snow globe has a cold status effect applied to them every X seconds. They didn't specify how much, with no limit inside, but if enemies are inside and it's cast, they instantly get the 10 stacks, which is freaking fantastic. And last but not least, you can finally shoot inside the globe if you're an if you're an ally. But enemies still can't shoot inside the globe. But you can finally shoot in there because, I mean, I guess you can shoot through glass, but not through ice. Gar was doing it, but hey, we are all good now. So I think Frost is going to be in a really good spot after this, and I'm very excited for that. Now, moving along with that, there was also some changes that they went ahead and did with armor. I think that's going to come in with the new Jade Shadows. Armor scaling, basically it doesn't go beyond 2,700 armor for enemies, which is going to be approximately 90% damage reduction. Now, with the previous corrosive, when they were doing like the armor stripping curve, at max stacks of corrosive, I think that they were saying that it was only like 60% or something along those lines, but now with corrosive they can bring it down to 40%, which is definitely nice. And I think that is it. They've also changed damage vulnerability. So before, damage vulnerability would basically cap out at 100%, but now it's gonna kind of like be in its own like pockets, and you'll be able to kind of like use other damage things. Listen, I need to actually sit down and do the math in this rather than having sat and watched the Devstream and try to process every little thing after that. But those are the most important parts. Let's go ahead and move into something also kind of sexy. One of them I'm going to have to ask you guys some questions about because, I don't know. We have 4 new augments coming out, one for Protea, one for Zephyr, Dagoth, and for Koreg. Now, the easiest one to kind of be able to spot and see is going to be Protea's, which is going to be Temporal Artillery, which of course is for Blazing Artillery. And basically what happens is when you drop a Temporal Anchor, one of your Blazing Artilleries will attach to you. Now, I don't know if you have to cast it afterwards or if it just uses one that's already out in the field. But basically what happens is this little thing will follow you for the duration of Temporal Anchor, because what happens is I think what they were saying is it pauses the duration of that Blazing Artillery and during Temporal Anchor, so it effectively uses like a part of Temporal Anchor's like duration time, and it stacks up to 20 times damage multiplier. So it follows you around, kills enemies, can go up to a 20 times damage multiplier. Pablo was saying, don't be shocked if it at some point gets a nerf, but you know, have fun with it while you have the time. It does seem kind of fun. However, I don't know. I don't like auto fires. Like, that's the one thing I didn't necessarily love about Zaku is like I want to shoot things myself. You know what I mean? Now, next up we have Zephyr. This one is Dark Propagation. So this is going to be for enemies that you've sowed. Basically, if you kill an enemy that is sowed, they can go ahead and transfer the sowed status to other enemies around them. And also, the Shadow's Death Harvest also inflicts sow. So you're just going to be sowing a lot of things. Moving on, we have Dagoth's Spectral Spirit. Here's the thing. I have been wanting Dagoth to have a reason. To me, I don't know where Dagoth belongs, but now Spectral Spirit is this thing where it's like it has Grave Spirit, where if you die, you like get like 100% damage evasion or something like that, you know, so on and so forth. But to me, I'm like, ooh, what is this? So basically, from Spectral Spirit, you immediately turn into the Spectral Spirit form. You get a 100% chance for weapons and abilities to apply Doom. What is this called? Kills outside Spectral form, decrease the cooldown by 1 second. So what it's sounding like is you get the trigger for when you die, and you get that evasion, right? Or not die, you don't die, but like you go into Spectral form instead. I'm gonna be real with you, I've never died with the Goth, so I've never seen the Spectral form, so I don't know about the Spectral form, but this seems kind of interesting because it almost sounds like she's getting her own version of Hysteria. Am I right? is this like, you know, when Hysteria has that cooldown, when you do the cooldown mod for it, it feels kind of like that because you get 100% evasion, right? I don't know, somebody fill me in because it sounds kind of cool. Corvex, this wins the award for the best name of the augments, at least this round. It's called Wrecking Wall. Not Wrecking Ball, Wrecking Wall, okay? So you strip 50% of armor and shields on enemies that they hit, and then if you hit 5 or more enemies, it goes ahead and refreshes the duration of any of the pillars, and it supercharges them. So it's not saying pillars that are in them, it says on the augment any pillars. So if you hit 5 or more, any of your pillars get their durations reset, which I'm like, that's kind of cool. I like the thought that Corvix is like a machine and the things he does repowers the machine. I want them to go more into that aspect when they go ahead and do his augments. I don't know. Also, the final thing that I want to touch on, because there's so many things that I feel like this video is already excessively wrong, there are going to be 5 new augments. There's a couple of them that I think that are kind of interesting. Note, I have not written these down. I'm literally just staring at it on the screen right now because I could not be bothered to write everything down. So the first one is going to be for your Warframe. It's called Battery Armor. It gives 0.30 maximum energy for every armor point you have up to 1000 energy. So it's basically like saying, here is some bonus energy for you based on how much armor you have. Interesting. Next one is Arcane Ice Storm, and this also feeds into Frost becoming an absolute beast. On enemy frozen solid, gain 2% strength. I'm gonna assume that's power strength, and 2% duration for 15 seconds, stacks up to 20 times. 20 times. Are you kidding me? This, and is it the, okay, I don't get me wrong, is it the, what is it called? That one mod where it's like enemies killed by cold have a chance to drop energy orbs. I mean, come on, Frost is gonna be sexy. I'm excited. Secondary Fortifier, I'm actually excited about this one. You have 100 overguard steal. Now I'm wondering, does that mean like it has to steal overguard, like you have to hit overguard in order to steal overguard, or is this like one of those you deal damage and 1% of that damage is turned into overguard for you? Because if it's 100% overguard, damn it, like, yeah, and I could just keep up overguard, my Tatiana is gonna be nasty. But you also get 8 times more damage to overguard, which thank God, because at higher levels there's just so much overguard on so many enemies and I hate it. Secondary Surge. On ability cast, I was actually thinking this one might be kind of fun too, because this is another secondary one. On ability cast, grants a 1x damage multiplier to your next shot for every 200 energy you have, up to 8 times. What? I have to play with it in game. This last one is Melee Afflictions, and it's kind of weird. It adds 6 stacks to the existing status effects on enemies that are knocked off their feet by melee attacks. Sounds very conditional. Sounds like I'm not going to be that into it, but who knows? It could be absolutely amazing. So I feel like I hit everything that I wanted to hit. I'm sure that there are more things. Oh my god, the Ureli skin. Let's just end with the Ureli skin. That's where we're going to put this at. I thought it was hideous, but in like the best way. I did not like it. I did not like its, like, what do you call this? It's concept arting. I thought it was weird looking. And in the game, it is definitely weird looking. But, like, in a way I really enjoy. Like, what is happening? I kind of like it. Let me know how you, it's like weird, but she's like weird. Like how she is just in general, her vibe, her energy. She's kind of weird, and I kind of like it. I don't know. Let me know how you guys feel about all of this down in the comments below. Let me know how you feel about Miss Jade being able to fly and Zephyr still not being on the list of actual flight. She's a bird. She's a bird, you guys. She is a bird. They did not call her the ostrich frame. I can't even talk. I'm so impassioned. Frost is gonna be monstrous. There's a lot of great things that are coming out, and I'm actually very excited about Warframe for once. So, I don't know. Let me know how you feel down in the comments below. And as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.